Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Raw Parenting Unfiltered. I'm BJ Muir, a heart-based parenting coach and presenter, and I'm so glad to be here with you like we always are every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're watching live, let us know in the chat, and if you've got a parenting question, let us know in the chat. And if you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and click on the link and you can ask your questions just by filling out that quick Google form. It's only got one question, which is, what's your question? And I'll answer it on a future live stream of Raw Parenting Unfiltered. We come here every single Wednesday night, except for last Wednesday when we took Thanksgiving night off. Excuse me, Thanksgiving Eve night off. Pardon me. And again, I forgot my water. So we took that one off. But otherwise, we've been here and we're always here to answer your questions. Where I'm saying like there's multiple people here. There's not. It's just me. Tonight, we're going to be talking about some emotions. How do you help kids with big emotions? How do you help kids who are telling themselves lies about themselves? How do you get them out of that funk? And since it is officially the holiday season, I'll be sharing with you another 5-minute Christmas Devo. I love having opportunities to just integrate the story of Jesus into our everyday Christmas celebrations and the normal things we do. I love the Advent calendars and the devotionals that are out there. You should use them too. But if you're like me, you're already behind and it's only December 3rd. Tonight we did December 2nd and 3rd because we had a birthday party last night for a family member. So yeah, it's hard to keep up with some of those at times. So instead, I also like to do simple things. Tonight, I'm going to be telling you about how you can use this to teach about Jesus. So stay tuned for that. Right now, I got to start off with a funny story. Tonight, I was headed up to the bathroom and I walked in and I hadn't been home all day. And I look in the bathroom and I see something strange. On the counter by the sink is, let me hold it up here, is this book, the Book of Big Feelings. You know, it's just sitting on the sink. And I thought, first thing I thought was, oh no, that's going to get ruined there. I mean, there's water right there. It is horrible. Who brought this up here? That was going through my mind. Then I happened to see what page it was turned to. In the bathroom, mind you, it was turned to this. I just had to laugh. I thought, there's a story here. One of our kids clearly needs to eat more fiber. I don't know why it was on this page. What was going on? I still don't know. I just found this about an hour ago, and I have not had the time to go and ask what is going on there. But it just caught me funny. And I thought I'd share it with you so you could enjoy a laugh too. All right, let's get into some of your questions. And again, if you're here live with me, throw it in the chat box if you've got a question, and I'd be glad to answer it tonight. And if you are watching on replay, go ahead and hit the link, and I will get that question in our Google form, and I'll answer it on a future live stream. So let's take a look here. I got to bring up the screen that has the questions on it because I've got questions here from folks already. Oops, wrong screen. Okay, this is the one I was talking about. And it's interesting. I was talking about this with my wife too. My child often says things like, I'm so stupid. I always mess up, or I can't do anything right. How do I address this in a heart-based way without just saying that's not true? So my wife and I were talking about how sometimes kids say things that just aren't true about themselves. They do a lot of negative self-talk, like saying things like, I'm so stupid, or I always mess up, or nobody loves me, things like that. And we were talking about how to address that and what's going on inside a child's heart, because what we're seeing on the outside isn't really telling the full picture. There's more going on deeper down, and this is not an easy one to address, but it is possible. When your child is saying things like that, what they're telling you is that something else is going on down there where they're just not feeling it. They're feeling disconnected. They're feeling unsafe. They're feeling unsure about themselves and their ability or their connection with you. There is something else deeper down going on. Hold on one second. I forgot to hit record. All right, there we go. We hit record. I like to record these because we can reuse this stuff. So I'm going to back up real quick because I want to get what I just said. It was actually pretty good. Give a thumbs up if you agree. All right. So I was talking to my wife recently about this question that I got about what do I do when my kid says things like, I'm stupid. Nobody loves me. I always mess up. I can't do anything right. And they sort of beat themselves up and they give all this negative self-talk. How do I work with a kid who's in that spot other than just saying, that's not true. That's not true. And try to counter the negative self-talk. We do need to counter that negative self-talk, but let me suggest that's not where we start. When our children are using this negative self-talk, they're actually telling us something deeper down is going on in their heart. They're feeling disconnected oftentimes. They're feeling unsafe. They're feeling unsure. There is a reason why they're saying this. It's not because they like to say this. They are trying to navigate something tricky going on. Our job as a parent is to bring some comfort and regulation and connection, and then to start uncovering what's going on so we can start then bringing Jesus's truths into that situation. When your child starts saying things like, I'm so stupid, I can't do anything right, don't start by countering it, by telling them they're wrong. Don't tell them they're right either, obviously. Just start by listening. Think about yourself in those situations. When you're feeling horrible, when you're feeling upset, when you're feeling frustrated, most times you don't want someone telling you you're wrong. You want somebody to offer a listening ear. You're not looking for validation of, oh, you're absolutely right, you are so stupid. You're just looking for someone to offer a listening ear. We want to offer that to our children. We want to come alongside of them and just sort of nod and say, that sounds really hard. That sounds difficult. Wow, you're really feeling frustrated about this or unsure about this or whatever you're thinking they might be feeling about this. Tell me more. Even if that's all you said was, I'm sorry to hear that. Tell me more. Maybe put your arm around them. Listen to what they say. Let them talk a little bit more because you're probably saying, I don't know why my kid's saying this. Let them talk more. You need to understand what's behind it, and them talking more is going to help you understand what's behind it. But let them share more. And when they do, you're not affirming all their thoughts about the situation. You're simply affirming that this is a hard moment for them. So you're saying things like, wow, that sounds hard. Gosh, I imagine that must be difficult to feel that way. That's all you're saying in that moment. But starting there lets your kid know that it's safe to open up more. When we start by telling our kid why they're wrong, when we start by telling them, hey, no, you're not stupid, and here's, you got 100 on your last math test or whatever it is, they don't hear that as, oh, honey, let me comfort you and show you how you're wrong. They just hear, you're wrong. You shouldn't be talking this way. It's not okay to be vulnerable like this. They're hearing something like that. And that's not what we mean as a parent, but that's often what we're communicating accidentally. So coming in, looking to offer some calm, looking to offer some connection in this moment, and helping them attune their hearts, helping them calm down, taking a deep breath or a few deep breaths with them, getting a drink of water, saying, you know what, why don't we go get, a drink of water and talk about this in the kitchen together, or sit on the couch next to each other, put your arm around them. Just offer that comfort in that moment. You're bringing connection. What do we know about connection? We know that connection drives felt safety, and we know that connection drives regulation. And so when you are connecting, you're driving these two other wonderful factors into their life in the right way. It's at that point when your child has expressed how they're feeling, when they've talked about it a little bit, that we can start to transition over to countering the lies with the truth, where we can start saying, I hear what you're saying, and that's got to be really hard. Let me tell you what I noticed. And then start to counter that. And that might be countering it by telling them how real learning happens when we struggle. and helping them understand that getting everything right doesn't mean you learned. It just means you got everything right, or that real learning happens when things are hard, and that's okay. That hard isn't bad, it's just hard. And that we're there to help them with their hard at times. That's the ways that we start offering some comfort and then shifting to the truth. Yes, it's okay for you to point out, hey, you did get a 95 on your last math test, or you did get this. It's okay to point that out, but now's the time when you point that out, not earlier, because earlier they weren't feeling connected. Now they're feeling connected. It's safe to point that out. And then you want to find a message to replace the I'm stupid with, or the I always mess up with, whatever the thing is that they're saying to themselves. We're looking to change out the cassette tape. Yes, I'm that old. Cassette tape. All right. We're looking to change out the cassette tape with some other tape we want them to play in their head. Some other message. A message that might say, instead of I always mess up, saying I have a hard time with this, but that's okay. I can learn it. Or something when they say I'm stupid, saying like, I have a lot of hard, math is really hard for me. I need help. That's a much healthier expression to say at that point. But giving them something else to say is really important, because if all we do is say, hey, stop saying that, that's not right. Okay, we're trying, but we're not telling what they should start doing instead. If somebody just told you, hey, stop eating that junk food, but never told you what to replace it with, and you really didn't know what to replace it with, you'd have nowhere to go. And so what would you do? You'd fall back on the junk food. So we need to replace the negative message with a more appropriate positive message. That doesn't mean we're sitting there saying, oh, you shouldn't say I'm stupid. You should say I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, and God has a plan and purpose for my life. Is that true? Absolutely. But is that facing the reality of what that kid is struggling with in that moment? No, it's not. It's like sugarcoating over it. I want my children to get that message, that they are fearfully and wonderfully made, that God has a plan and a purpose for their life. But when I'm struggling, I'm just feeling really stupid. And so changing over to saying, I'm having a hard time with this, but that's okay. That's hard enough for me to get to as a kid, as an adult. These other truths I want to hear, I'm just not ready for them right there. I'm ready for this truth, though. So we want to make sure that we're replacing that false belief, that lie that's in the heart, with a truth that is honest about how your child is feeling in that moment, while still pointing back to Jesus's truth. When we start doing that, we start helping our children see, hey, it's okay to get stuck. It's okay to struggle. It's just not okay to beat up the one who Jesus created in your struggle of trying to get to the right place. It's important instead to acknowledge the struggle, but also acknowledge that Jesus is in this moment and wants to help you through it. When we start doing that, it's not easy to change this habit, because it is a habit, but it is possible because we're working at a heart level and not just looking at their behavior. Now, if you're thinking, BJ, that sounds great, I just don't know how to execute on that day to day, practically speaking. You made it sound so easy, but my kid, I got trouble doing that. Then let me help you out a little bit. Yeah, this video is great. You should give it the thumbs up, right? And like it, and whatever else you do, hit the heart button. But practically speaking, in the moment, we need a tool that can help. Fortunately, I've created a tool for you. It's called the Calm approach. You've heard me talk about it here before. And I even have a set of cards to help you through that. The Calm approach. C stands for connect, A for attune, L for lean on God's truth, and M for map out a plan forward. That's so important that we map out a plan forward. And, these cards walk you right through it. I teach you how to use all the cards right there. You can teach you how to do all that connecting stuff I was just showing you, how to attune with your kid. What are these calming things we can do with our kids? How do we lean onto God's truth? And then how do we map a plan forward? Like these 4 or 5 cards alone are well worth it. But then, okay, let's talk about some Bible verses to help you when your kids are feeling angry, sad, or anxious. Let's talk about when you're feeling overwhelmed. What can you do? See, these cards are not for showing to your kids in the middle of this moment. This is for you to take, for you to stuff in your Bible and study, for you to hang up in your bedroom next to your nightstand and look at every day, or whatever it might be. This is to help you as a parent. Here's a troubleshooting page, because we all need that. Because guess what? This is hard stuff we're doing with kids. And then we want to help kids start moving towards independence. So we got a card for that too. And then all those different strategies that you can use. And this is just a little sampling of them. So that's all there. If you wanted to get a copy of this, you want to go over to my TikTok shop and grab yourself a copy right now. Have it in the next week. Man, you'll be all set for the holidays for yourself. Navigate things a whole lot better with all the extra family time that you'll be spending together. And when your kids start talking negatively about themselves, you'll be ready to go, because you'll have spent some time learning how to bring calm. You give that a try. You'll be so glad that you did. All right. Thanks for that question. It was a great question to walk through. I keep these right here because they come up a lot in these lives. So I'm glad I had them there. And again, if you want to get yourself a copy, head over to the TikTok shop. We've got them right there for you. And we'll get them in the mail right away. All right. So let's talk a little bit about, let's see. I don't want to answer my next question. Let's go to Christmas. Let's talk about Christmas stuff. So like I said this every single week I've been here. I love doing all the Advent things. We just got, I'm so excited. So we don't do an Advent wreath. We've got Advent candles just lined up, and we usually light them on a Sunday and during our lunchtime after church. And we burn through them, and they look great. But we decided to do something a little different in the kitchen, in the centerpiece. So that meant the Advent candles were going elsewhere. And so I started saying, well, we're not going to burn them then. So I said, I found electronic candles, which I don't always love, but these Advent ones were kind of cool. So they're set up. So I'm kind of excited because we've got an Advent candle lit all the time now. Just whenever we turn on the Christmas lights, they're on too. And I love the Advent devotionals, and we do a little devotional as well. It's great, but like we fall behind at times. And it's only day 3 of December, and day what is it? It's Wednesday. So day 4 of Advent. We're already behind. We just caught up tonight again. So I like to also just find simple ways to sort of bring the Jesus message into Christmas. And I love to use stuff that's just already out, object lessons. So I call these 5-minute Christmas Devos, simple things you can do to help bring Jesus back into the picture when it comes to just keeping them in the focus here and getting outside of all of the commercialism. So let me show you what we're doing tonight. All right. And I'm going to just model for you right now what it would look like with your kids. So let me get my stuff here. Hold on. Where do I put this? I'm going to put that right there. All right. I think we're all set. Here we go. So how do you use a stocking to teach your kids about Jesus this Christmas? Let's talk about it. Christmas is so much fun with children, but it's so easy to get overwhelmed by everything else going on that Jesus starts to take a back seat, and he really shouldn't. I love doing Advent activities, but sometimes I fall behind on them. And so finding these simple object lessons where I can take ordinary things that my kids are going to see all season long and get them to start thinking about Jesus when they see those things, I'm all up for that. So let's talk about a stocking. You want to gather your kids together. Maybe it's while you're decorating. You just take a 5-minute pause to do this. Maybe it's just one night. You just gather around wherever you have your stockings hanging, whether it's on the fireplace or down the banister of your stairs, wherever you keep your stockings. If you're somebody who likes to celebrate St. Nicholas Day, that's coming up really soon. So maybe you do that for this as well. But get a stocking and start talking to your kids. Ask your kids, hey, what is this anyway? And, oh, it's a stocking. That's right. What do we use it for? That's right. We put candy canes in it. We put gifts in it. That's right. Really good things come in here, right? Is there anything in here now? Like, no, there's not anything in here now. Is there? Right? It's empty. So you want to get your kids to understand that this is empty, nothing in it, but it could have really good things in it. Then ask your kids, How does it get the good things in here? How do the gifts and presents and really candy, how does it all get in here? So wait, the stocking doesn't just find a way to fill itself? Oh, yeah. Now we have to fill it. Maybe you say, yeah, mommy and daddy have to fill it. Maybe you say, oh, Santa has to fill it. I don't know. You do that yourself, but whatever. Somebody has to fill it. Uh, that's the difference there. Somebody has to fill it for you instead. It can't fill itself at all. So it just hangs there, waiting and waiting and waiting. It needs someone else to fill it. The truth is, our hearts are often like that as well. No matter how many toys or how many fun things or Christmas treats or activities that we do, they don't really fill us. They're just alternatives for what really should fill us. Here's the best part, kids. Jesus came at Christmas to fill our lives like nothing else can. And then you pick up that stocking again. And you have some cards made up, or maybe you do something fancier than I'm doing. For example, kids, when you're feeling anxious, he wants to fill you with peace. When you're feeling angry, he wants to fill you with joy. When you're feeling weak, he wants to fill you with strength. When you're feeling frustrated or sad, he wants to fill you with love. He wants to fill you with all these great things. And all you have to do is hang there, open, waiting for him and asking him to fill you. That's all you have to do. When we feel all these other things, he wants to fill us. We just need to ask him. Then, as a parent, you grab your Bible and you pull up your Bible verses and you look at something like Psalm 107, verse 9. I'm going to read it right here. You tell your kids, let's look at what the Bible says about being filled. Psalm 107, verse 9 tells us, for he satisfies the thirsty and fills the hungry with good things. We need to be hungry for Jesus. Yes, this is his birthday. Yes, Christmas wouldn't exist without Jesus. And we want to be filled like this stocking will be filled with all kinds of good things from him. But we have got to want it. We have got to desire it, like Psalm 107 says. So let's pray and ask Jesus to help us to be hungry for his truths, for his love, for a relationship with him. And then take a minute and authentically really pray with your kids and ask Jesus to fill them this Christmas with his love, with his joy, with his peace, with his strength. And ask Jesus, the Holy Spirit, to tug on their hearts that they would desire those things as well. And then, before you end, turn to your kids and tell them, every time you see this hanging up this season, I want you to think about how hungry for Jesus we should all be and how he's the one who fills us when we hang there expecting him to fill us. And maybe even take a moment to pray when you see your stocking each and every day. You do that with your kids, and let me tell you, your kids will never see stockings the same way again. In fact, next Christmas, they'll probably ask you, can you tell me that story again, Daddy, Mommy? Can you tell us about the stockings again, about Jesus filling us? They're going to ask you for this again and again and again. Now, if you want more ideas like this, you want to do a couple things. One, hit the like button on this video so the algorithm knows you want to see more of them. Two, check out the playlist I'll put right here so that way you can see more ideas that you can just grab ordinary, everyday Christmas objects and start teaching them all about Jesus. Right, so grab your stocking, grab a couple of cards. Maybe you're more creative than I am and you actually get really cool stuff like candy and things like that and label them with these cards and stuff it in there. That'd be kind of cool because then the stocking's all filled out even more. Do that, and let me tell you, your kids are going to love it. And it's just this fun moment. They'll have a good time. You'll have a good time. All right. So there's your 5-minute Christmas Devo for the week. Get that done, and you'll be in good shape. All right, let's take a look. I've got another question over here. And if you've got a question while you're here with me live, throw it in the chat box. Be glad to answer. And if you're watching on the replay, click on the link and I'll answer your questions too. One other question came in I want to make sure to answer tonight. It's all about when kids get harsh with us. So my kid isn't yelling at me, but their tone is sharp, edgy, and disrespectful. How do I correct the tone without getting stuck into an argument about how I wasn't yelling? Right? So many kids are like that. They're like, I wasn't yelling at you. How do we help them with that? All right, let's talk. Okay. So, excuse me. Trying to coughing up over here. And I don't have my water here tonight again. How do we help our kids when they start yelling at us or speaking harshly or with an edge on their voice? They're not yelling, but they certainly have the wrong tone. How do we correct the tone without getting into an argument about how I'm not yelling, I'm not trying to fight, you make a big deal out of these things? Let's talk. So, first of all, we need to recognize one, some kids really don't hear their tone and they have no idea they're doing it. And for these kids, we want to let them know. We're going to use the opportunity to educate them, to use the teaching tool that God's given us as parents. God's given us 7 different heart tools. One of them is teaching. We want to teach them the right tone. So we might say something as simple as, hey, I hear what you're saying there, but I just want you to know the tone you're using actually is coming off as disrespectful. I don't think you're meaning to sound like that. Why don't you try saying it this way and have your kid redo it in that moment? And make sure they know, I'm not mad at you. You're not in trouble. I just don't think you realize how you're sounding. And if they say something, well, why do I have to do that? It's like, well, one, because we care about relationships. Two, because you want to build the right habits here. Because how you speak to your parents is going to be how you speak to others in the world. And you want to make sure that you can hold down a job, right? You can hold on to a spouse, things like that. Hold on to relationships. And if you're speaking disrespectfully, even though you don't mean to, but your tone's coming off that way, you want to unlearn that and learn the right way. So that's what we're going to practice right now. Not in trouble. We're just fixing it. For other kids, they've developed a habit. Maybe at some point they did struggle with being disrespectful, or for whatever reason, they just have this habit of sounding disrespectful at this point. In that case, we want to recognize there could be something else going on. They could be feeling some overwhelm in their heart. Maybe they're afraid that they're disappointing us and they're feeling some sense of shame. Maybe there's some fear in there. They think they're in trouble. And so they're getting a little more defensive about something than they need to. Maybe they're discouraged because they feel like they can't get anything right. And so, again, they're getting a little defensive about it. Maybe they're feeling powerless and they just don't know what to do or what to say. And so it's coming out this way. If that's the case, where it's not my child just doesn't hear themselves, but it's more there's something going on in the background here. We want to start by offering a little bit of space. We want to let them know, like, hey, how you just said that came off as disrespectful. Take a moment to take a breath. If you need a drink of water or whatever it is, and then try again with a more respectful tone. That way, we're putting a little space, but we're letting them know when you're ready, come on back and talk to me here. Letting them know something by gently connecting with them and saying, like, hey, you're not in trouble. I'm just trying to help you here, but you're coming off as angry or upset or worried that you're in trouble, something, whatever they're coming off as. Why don't you try that again with a different tone? Give them a redo, give them an opportunity to change the interaction, but you're softly, gently letting them know, hey, this isn't the way to do this, but I get it. There's something else going on deeper down. You could lean in with curiosity. Hey, that's actually the way you're talking is coming off as disrespectful. I don't think you mean to. What's going on behind there? Are you worried about something or what's behind that? And get curious so they can offer more up. Sometimes they'll say things like, I was just trying to make sure that you didn't get stressed out about this. And now I feel like I'm getting in trouble. It's like, oh wow, no, you don't have to take that on. Or maybe they just think, well, I I never can do anything right with this thing, and I just feel like I'm not getting it right again, and that's why I'm feeling this way. Oh, okay. Now you can meet them at that place. See, before they were just offering disrespect. I can't meet you there because if I meet you there, I'm going to meet you there with disrespect, and that's not really helpful. So I need to kind of walk up to where you are with disrespect and bring you somewhere else so we can interact. I'm going to bring you to a calmer place where you can open up a little bit more, where I can hear your heart and talk to your heart and lower the emotional temperature in the room at that point. Sit next to them rather than across from them. How we stand. I can't believe how many people, do things like sit on the opposite side of a table with someone else when there's an emotionally heated moment. Not a smart idea. Get on the same side of the table, or at least sit at a corner so that you make a triangle, but not head to head. Same thing with our kids. That body posture matters. So sitting next to them or coming alongside of them feels a lot more like a coach and less like a referee coming at me. And it lowers the emotional temperature in the room. We're inviting them to talk. We're not telling them, hey, that was Israel. You tell me what's really going on in your heart there. Like, well, that's not going to work. They're just going to throw the walls up. Not going to work. We're inviting them to talk about what's really going on behind that, rather than forcing them to talk about it. And we're teaching them how to persevere in these moments, because for some of our kids, they want to walk away at this moment. They don't want to deal with it at all because they don't like conflict, or they don't like that they're getting kind of called out here a little bit. They just want to shut down and forget it. And we want to say, no, no, no. Healthy people persevere even when it gets a little tough at times. And so what we're doing here is we're validating their emotion in that moment, that, hey, okay, you're feeling kind of whatever here, but let's back up and really understand what's going on. Once your child has regulated a bit with our help, they're ready for us to talk. They're ready for us to really say, okay, let's try that again. Let's have that interaction again and see how it goes. And we can spend time. You're thinking, BJ, this takes so long. Why can't they just? I get it. I don't want it to take that long too at times. But this is healthier for your kid and for you than just demanding something here. Saying, oh, you just need to, watch your attitude. That doesn't work. Long term, it doesn't work. Working through what's going on there does. It takes longer up front, yes. But it's a much better investment of your time than later on, because when you just approach it this way, it doesn't work long term. And so your kid is long term stuck in this place of, yes, feeling some sense of shame or fear or discouragement or powerlessness. And so every interaction becomes that, rather than you taking it on in this simple way that recognizes where they're at, that connects with them, that helps them attune their heart, that leans into God's truths and helps them map a plan forward. And yes, gets them to recognize they're not in trouble. There's not a big problem here. Let's just talk. That ultimately will bring healing to whatever it is that they're telling themselves that's not true. And that healing over time will start saving you time. Yes, it's an investment up front, but long term, it's healthier for your child, it's healthier for your relationship, and it saves you time too. So go ahead and give that a shot. Give that a chance. And if you're saying, I don't know how to do all this like connect to tune stuff, you want to head over to my TikTok shop. You want to grab yourself a copy of these cards. It's my calm approach. It teaches you how to connect. It's an acronym: connect, attune, lean, and map. And this is a set of cards not for you to really use with your kids. Like, oh, pick a card. This is more for you to learn how to help your child calm down, how to connect with them, how to attune with them, how to lean on God's truths, and then how to map a plan forward. You start doing that, And boy, is that going to really change things in their life. And there's a ton more cards. You can, again, check them out in the TikTok shop. But they're going to help you really start knowing how to connect with your kids. I've used these with my own kids. I've used these when I'm working with other families, and they tell me, BJ, this changes the way my kid responds. And you've always told us you can actually be connecting even when you're correcting. Not my saying, Dr. Purvis is saying, not mine, but you've said that. I feel like I actually am now. So go ahead, check it out, give it a try with your kids. You're going to start seeing some change that actually lasts. And if you want to learn more about using the calm approach, I'll put a playlist right here to help you out. All right. Thanks so much. All right, I'm looking at the time here, and I've got a family that I'm working with in about 10 minutes. So I've got to get going. This is a little bit shorter than we usually do on a Wednesday night. But again, if this has been helpful to you, hit the thumbs up button. Greatly appreciated. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, hit subscribe or hit follow, wherever you are, because that helps me kind of keep moving forward with what we're doing here, and it helps you because you're telling algorithms I want to see more of BJ's content. So go ahead and hit that button to follow us, and I will see you right back here next Wednesday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for more Raw Parenting Unfiltered. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you real soon. Bye, everyone.